I never had a problem of feeling hungry on it because it has plenty of calories. But there's a difference between feeling not hungry and feeling satisfied. And I think that's the big problem that I've found with the fruit diet. I've met like 5 people over just in the last 6 months who say the same thing. A lot of them say, I'm like 90% there, but I gotta have my hummus every day, or I gotta have my cheese and cracker, or they're starting to do like zucchini noodles with a
And the problem
sauce.
I found was I just didn't really get how little of these fats puts you over the amount of fat you need for the day. I mean, it just takes a couple of tablespoons of oil, you're done. The Vidal Speaks podcast.
It's a We Speaks. Lloyd and Deb talk about taking fat out of your diet in 2020. Welcome to Vidal Speaks. My name is Deborah Vidal, former 11-year LPGA golf pro turned classical homeopath, certified plant-based nutritionist, and wellness coach. Each week here on Vidal Speaks, we bring you knowledge, inspiration, or natural remedies to help you take charge of your health and feel your best. I believe health is freedom and knowledge is power. So tuning in each week will give you the power to take steps towards freeing yourself from the chains that hold you back from having the energy to do all you want in life. No matter where you are in your journey of wellness, Vidal Speaks can help. I promise. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vidal Speaks podcast and welcome to the new decade of 2020. Wow, that's so crazy. It sounds so crazy, but I'm so excited. It reminds me of golf, you know, when you're having a bad front nine and you get to make the turn and start over on the back nine. When a decade has come to an end, it just feels like something good is around the corner to me. And boy, we really can only go up in this decade because the last decade, it's just been more and more sickness and more deaths. And really, there's just so much going on with the planet and our health. And all I want to do is just see it turn the corner. And 2020 is here and I'm ready to be a part of that. Are you guys? I hope so. So today I wanted to have Lloyd on with me because it's the first one of the new year and everybody's talking about New Year's resolutions and what are you guys going to do? But you know, resolutions are kind of funny because people make these gigantic resolutions and then in 2 weeks they can't even keep them. So Lloyd decided he didn't want to have any this year, but I'm kind of a goal person. I like to have at least an idea of what I want to do. But the thing for me is I take it really seriously. So I wouldn't say to myself, like, I want to run 10 miles 4 times a week because I know that's not doable. I know I wouldn't sustain that. My back would die anyway. But I'm just saying that a lot of people make these gigantic resolutions, but they're just too big to keep and they're not sustainable. And the truth is, most resolutions are around diet, exercise, and weight loss, right? I mean, and health. So, and these all go together. And most people I know, that is their New Year's resolution. So they're already been telling me I want to lose 25 pounds this year. But the thing is that they haven't done anything different in their lifestyle. So I've already had 3 people at the golf course ask me if I knew of a personal trainer that could come to their house and train them because they need to exercise more. But you guys, exercise more isn't going to do it. And this is what I try to tell them. That's a good idea if that's what it takes you to be motivated to get exercise, because exercise is so important. But if you're doing that because your New Year's resolution is to lose 25 pounds, then you're going to be a failure because you have to learn to make some simple changes in your life, your lifestyle, but more than that, your diet. And they don't want to really change what they're eating. And so then they just become a failure in their New Year's resolution. So Lloyd and I today wanted to just tell you about our journey and talk to you about what we've learned on our journey. But the message behind what we're talking about today is how important it is to have a low-fat vegan diet instead of just a vegan diet or instead of a raw food diet. I think it's really, really, really more important than you really will ever know to eat almost no fat. And I know a lot of you out there might be saying, but isn't fat really important? How many times have all of us that are vegan or plant-based heard, well, where do you get your protein from? Well, the next one is, if you're not eating any fats, where are you going to get your fat from? It's so important. And I'm so tired of the keto argument about how the body needs cholesterol to make all these hormones. If that were true, then why is my cholesterol so low and I never had a single hot flash and I never had any menopausal symptoms or I never had any hormonal imbalances? That's a crazy idea. I'm not saying that scientifically that the liver and the body doesn't use cholesterol to make hormones, but what I'm saying is we don't need to eat cholesterol to make our hormones. In addition to that, then all these keto people wouldn't be having plaquing and heart attacks, because if it were so good to eat that high-fat diet, then they would be having better blood work. Okay, that might be a successful diet in losing weight in the short term, and if you want to call short term a few years, sometimes people sustain it, but how long do you think it's going to take until your blood work starts showing your kidneys failing and your arteries clogging up? Not that long. I would say 6 months after 6 months after 6 months, you'd see their blood work going up and up and up. So I'm really tired of that argument because it's so wrong. It's like saying you fix one thing and kill yourself in another way. Like, what's the point? Oh, gosh, you guys, I need to have more tolerance because the keto diet drives me crazy. So I'm trying to work always on being more tolerant. But anyway, we thought it would be a good topic today because even though, we did this fruit diet for 18 months, and that was the best thing about the fruit diet for me was that it was no fat. You just didn't have any decisions. And even the very occasional times we ate a salad, we have a dressing that we buy from the farmer's market that's fat-free. It's really no fat. One of them is made with ginger and some kind of fermented veggie broth, and the other one was made from miso. So miso itself is made from the soybean and it has natural fat in it. So it wasn't fat-free, but it was oil-free and low-fat because it was just natural fat from the miso. So we went for, I say 18 months because that's when, right after that, we started adding a few more things to our diet. But then that lasted about a month and we went back to all fruit, and I did all fruit all summer. So really it was about a 2-year journey and we ate all fruit. But the reason we changed is because there was just something missing, and I didn't feel good when I transitioned from fruit to raw food. So Lloyd and I talk about that journey, and I want to do a lot more on this with you guys because I want to talk to you about the importance of, just feeling satisfied, because when you don't feel satisfied, then you start almost developing like an eating disorder. And satisfied is different than being full, because I was never hungry, but it's different. You can be full, but you're not satisfied, and that's kind of a mental, emotional thing. And then you keep thinking you need to be stronger, but then what you realize is you're thinking about food all the time, and it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. But the fruit diet is so healthy. To me, it's like the top of the pyramid is water fasting, and then fruit and fruit juice, if you want to call it fasting. But if you're a person that has cancer or some disease, then it's not a fasting. You need to do this for a year or two until you get better. Look at the Gerson therapy. It's a 3-year protocol. So you're needing time to eat differently and to do your coffee enemas and for things to change and for the body to detox. And so we did this like for 2 years, but we made some mistakes, and that's why we're here to talk about it. And today, really though, even though we talk about our journey and how we felt on it and how we felt really horrible going to raw food, because we realized that when we started adding more foods from our from our fruit diet to our raw food diet, that the foods that we're eating a lot more of, which are all the high fat foods, adding more nuts and seeds and noodles that require a lot of sauces over, that are high fat. And this is my big argument against the raw food diet. It sounds so wonderful to be a raw foodist, but the true people that I know that are raw foodists, and there's only a few, I can count them all on one hand, I can tell you that, and they eat fruit all day and giant salads, and they don't eat hardly any fat. And I can tell you it's like 10% or less is the amount of fat we need in our diet. So when they say 80-10-10, that's what they were doing. 10% of that was fat, 80 was fruit, and the other 10 was coming from veggies or salad. So you can see that's a really hard diet to sustain, and it's not one that I could do and feel good on, and mentally I just couldn't do it. And like I said earlier, I met a few people this year, actually like 5 people, that really did very intensely the fruit diet, and they actually felt bad and gained weight on it because they became so unsatisfied that they had to almost develop an eating disorder about just eating so much fruit that they were taking in way too many calories because they were just eating and eating and eating to get satisfied instead of eating and stopping when they're full. So this is really a problem. I experienced it a bit myself. Really, the feeling of being unsatisfied was more for me only in the winter months. When it's hot and summer out, I loved it. It just seems so natural, and you can see why it's the natural diet if you live in Hawaii or Jamaica or the Caribbean or Thailand or somewhere where it's hot all the time. It's really a natural diet, and you don't really desire to warm your food. But anyways, we changed because we weren't feeling good, and I think it's really important to listen to how you feel. And I either had the choice to go back to eating all fruit or just bringing in some cooked food into my life. And I decided to bring some cooked food into my life because that's how I've always functioned at my top levels. And as a professional athlete, I can't imagine not eating rice and beans in my career. I mean, starches are what drive a lot of athletes. You're out there and you're sweating and training and running and working out and golfing and practicing, and I couldn't do it sustaining myself on fruit. I just know I couldn't do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's chat with Lloyd. It's a very casual one, and it's not anything with a big scientific message, but I know you guys like to hear from Lloyd, and it was his birthday when we did this interview a couple days ago. So here we go. You guys just sit back, enjoy, and relax, and let's get talking. Hey Lloyd, welcome. And before we even say one other thing, happy birthday, my big love.
Number 43 has turned Route 66, so it's kind of famous.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very famous route, and 66 years on this planet already. How does it feel?
Feels okay.
Yeah, you're actually one of those people that I look back and you're doing so much better at this age than you were when I met you. Geez, so that has to feel pretty good, huh?
Yeah, no complaints.
And Lloyd, just so you know, I've had, 4 or 5 people email me, and they've all asked me to thank you for always sharing your story and all your intimate details about your problems, because that it's helped them learn, and so they appreciate you. That's why I wanted to start at the new year with having you on the podcast. So thanks.
You gotta keep trying.
You definitely got to be open to always listening. All right, so let's talk. It's 2020. Wow, that seems so like futuristic, doesn't it?
No New Year's resolutions for me. Just to be a good, better person and not get so angry at everything.
Yeah, that's a daily resolution. Yeah, you get frustrated at people when they don't do the right thing, and you got to have more compassion and more patience.
They've argued violently about how great their good American diet is.
Yeah, well, that's another subject. We'll talk about that, because trying to convince someone into what they're eating is why they have the symptoms they have when they're so brainwashed by the medical association and the food and drug and all these people that feed you all this baloney, right? It's so frustrating. Got into it
with another good friend, and I had to call him up after he left here and apologize for trying to help, you know?
But they all think they're doing the best thing to feed their kids all this animal protein because they said they're growing and they need this.
And they just tell me I don't tell it to them, I guess, kindly enough, or I don't know.
Okay, well, there's your New Year's resolution.
I'll say it kindly.
Say the message kinder.
You know, your wonderful animal diet is killing you softly.
All right. Well, I think if I wanted to say one little thing, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think the better thing to do than a New Year's resolution is to pick a couple baby things that you can do to really, I don't know, sustain the whole year, because mostly in 2 weeks, people's resolutions are out the window anyway.
Yeah.
So I would say make one simple change. If you're not a vegan yet, or you're not eating plant-based and you're doing it once in a while.
One day.
Yeah, start with 1 day. If you're already doing 3 days, do 4, whatever. If you want to get better, do some cleanses this year. But I would say for you and I, Lloyd, one of the things I would like to do more of this year is meditation.
Yeah, I think that's something that we learned at the end of this year was meditation is a good thing. You know, you get so stressed out and you spend not enough time trying to relax and be a kid again and not worry about so many things. And it's hard to do without meditating.
It's really, really hard. And I think the other great thing about
it's hard to stop thinking.
It is. That's what I was going to say. The other great thing about meditation is at least it's the practice of trying to stop thinking, but also that gets you in touch with the real, true being of who we are inside, this being of pure love and light. And I think people lose touch of that. It's a tough world. Our minds are active all the time. So that's one thing I'm going to do this year.
I mean, I wonder if I'm strange because I just ordered up some new parts for my slot car track, and I love to do that still at my age. And I have as much fun now as I did first time when I was 8 years old, nearly 60 years ago.
Yeah, I think having fun is a really important part of it, but I also think being in touch with the goodness inside all of us, and in addition to that, reaching in and expanding our efforts of compassion out to others.
And it keeps my eye-hand coordination good for racing still.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'm 2019 Vintage 6 champion. How about that?
Yeah, that was that was the end of a good year and a good decade, actually.
Amazing.
Actually, a really strange decade. We lost a lot of friends. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's move on, and I want to do this show since it's a new year and people are doing all these New Year's resolutions, and most of them have to do with losing weight and diet and exercising and this kind of stuff. Let's talk a lot about diet, because we've been, as they know, we did a podcast not too long ago talking about our fruit journey. But let's talk about what we've learned in our diet, and let's talk about fruit. I mean, we're still really big fruit advocates.
Let's talk about what my heart doctor said to me today about the difference. What's better, a paleo or a keto diet?
Well, we didn't ask him that question. We asked him what? We said, are you seeing a lot more plaque people with the keto popularity of the keto diet? And he said yes. And he said, actually, the paleo diet's better than the keto diet. And Lloyd and I started laughing.
And rolling our eyes.
And then, of course, that's when you say, okay, don't open your mouth, Deborah or Lloyd. Yeah. Stop right there, because this guy likes you and he's a doctor.
And he loves his steaks.
Yep, and he told us, but I'm a meat eater and I'm not going to give up our meat. And Lloyd's telling me on the way driving home on our scooter,
how can a heart doctor eat meat?
I know, it's so crazy. It's like any scientist that's in that's knows all this about the global warming and how can they eat animals. It's crazy. But anyway, the fruit diet. So let me hear your thoughts on it. You're still a big fruit eater.
I'm really loving the fact that we brought oats back, or I guess grains back into our diet a bit, because I really missed oatmeal. So now I have a bowl of oatmeal each day with fruit on it, berries, lots of berries and fruit.
And Lloyd, your fruit bowl, before you ate the oatmeal when we were doing only fruit, your fruit bowl is the same now. You just put a little 1/4 cup of oatmeal underneath it.
No, it's a half a cup, but yes, and now it makes it easier for me for lunch, because that was my biggest problem, where I'd eat too much vegan cheese and we were getting into trouble with the fats that we were eating. So now my lunch is my fruit bowl only now. So
you do oatmeal with a big topping of fruit for breakfast.
But
and
I
then
don't
a
put
big
anything
fruit bowl.
on it that I have to cut. This is how weird I am. I just put berries on it that I can just dump on the oatmeal. And then at my lunchtime fruit bowl, I'll have a mango that you have to peel it and get the inside out. And then I'll slice a banana on it, cut some dates up.
Persimmons.
Persimmons.
Pomegranate seeds.
Stuff that I have to cut.
Oh, yeah.
And then also berries and pomegranate seeds.
So that's good. So
that's my breakfast and
your
lunch.
2 meals are right there, like 80%, 80 or 90% fruit. Now, for me, I've done it a little bit different, because I had a horrible thing, you guys. I was eating an orange at my sink a couple days before Christmas.
Almost died.
Really, and I just, you know how you cut them in quarters and you just like suck the juice out, and the juice squirted down my throat, down the wrong pipe, as they say, and it literally went down the wrong pipe to the point that it actually, you know, that it happens to all of us a million times, where it goes and you cough and you cough and you cough and then it's over. But this time, you guys, it went down into my lung. I coughed for 5 hours, and then I made the mistake of laying flat and going to sleep in my bed, and 4 hours into sleep I woke up and I literally had a pneumonia. I had a fever of 103.7, and I felt on fire. I was freezing, and I knew it came because I was coughing for 5 hours. So anyways, because of that incident, it took me 3 days laying in bed and doing a lot of homeopathy. That's all I ever do is homeopathy, and a few like herbal teas and stuff like this.
We don't even have a doctor.
Yeah, we don't. Everyone's like, you know, they kind of want to believe you don't have pneumonia because you treat it yourself. But anyway, that's another story. That's why I'm so thankful every time in a situation like that. I say, I don't care what money I spent on my education. It's worth every penny when I can have the freedom to treat myself and not have to go to the ER. But anyways, then because I didn't eat for like 5 days, I lost most of my appetite and my taste. I wasn't doing any oatmeal. I was just craving so much fruit. So since we started this change, I've still done really a lot of fruit. I haven't done oatmeal in the morning. I like it, and I will do it, but I just have been craving so much. I'm addicted right now to tangerines and pomegranate seeds. That's like my breakfast and lunch. But anyways, what's been different for us since we talked to you guys last time is dinners, because
bringing beans back and grains
and starches.
We can have some spaghettis now, and
we don't do too
tacos,
much tacos. Well, the good thing,
burritos.
Yeah. So, but the thing is we're still doing a lot of really simple dinners, like a salad and a half a baked potato, or a salad and steamed broccoli, and that's all we'll have. But maybe like a couple times a week or something, I'll make us a nice treat, like some tacos or a burrito or something like this. And where it's really changed, you guys know the last time we updated you, we had switched our diet from all fruit to raw. And then I did really badly on that diet. I did so bad when it's raw, because when we were doing all fruit, I felt great. And
I wasn't a big fan of the raw.
Yeah, but you know, suddenly when you're not doing all fruit and you start adding raw foods, so now you start eating raw vegetables like, you know, zucchini noodles and carrot noodles and all kinds of these other veggie noodles, and everything's raw, and so you need a sauce over the top of them. Then Lloyd's eating like cheese by the bucket load suddenly, and all the raw crackers with all the flax seeds, and because I don't know, but we
I was
felt
getting my diarrhea back.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't figure out what was going on.
and then we realized how much fat you were more than me because
Yeah.
you were just loading down
Well,
the
I
vegan
got
cheese.
addicted to Mioka cheese.
Yeah, it's easy to get
It's a
addicted.
good cheese,
It's a
but
good-
geez, I was eating 2 packages of that a week.
Yeah.
Insane.
So then I said to Lloyd, I'm feeling so terrible. I can't eat like this. This is just, you have to listen to your body. And that's the thing, you guys, no matter who you follow, never be someone that just blindly follows a guru. You have to make sure
Yeah.
that you understand what you're doing, that it makes you feel good or doesn't
Right.
make you feel good. Because look, Lloyd, how many people, we tried raw food 5 times now.
But you know, this is all with good foods. We're not saying you should be eating something not healthy.
No, I'm not saying, well, you won't feel good if you are eating crappy sugar. You might for 5 minutes.
Most Americans seem to think they feel great on their
Yeah,
American
but you know
diet.
the saying, you have no idea how good your body can feel, and they're all on this average of 7 drugs, so they can't be feeling too good.
Yeah.
But they can say whatever they want, but until they go for 30 days without that kind
Well,
of stuff.
can we sneak into me losing another friend?
No, let's talk about that at the end. That's
Okay.
too depressing. That's too depressing.
All had to do with food, though.
Yeah, but let's
Think
talk about
that.
so anyway, what we did different is I finally, after my 5th try of trying to be a raw foodist, I gave up. And I realized every time I feel the same way. I feel like I start loading down fats, and I've never been a big fat eater. I've always eaten rice and beans and quinoa and veggies and fruits and few nuts and seeds, and that's been my diet most of my life. We grew up on eating rice and beans. That was my favorite dish. So I decided that when we do want to have a meal, even though it might not be every dinner or every day, we're going to bring those foods back because we were feeling, like Lloyd said, he was starting to get his diarrhea back, and I feel like my gut is still not 100% back.
And the fruit deal was I just felt you had to eat all day long to stay satiated because you just burn through the fruits so quickly.
And I made a big mistake more than you, Lloyd. I was doing mostly juice, so I was really getting no fiber.
Yeah.
Like for 18 months, I really pretty much lived on juice. I did some fruit bowls, but honestly, it was like 90 or 80% of my diet was juice. And I realized that my colon and my bowel health is, even though fruit's so healthy, and I'm sure my colon's in healthy shape, but my body, I felt like I was in a fiber, I don't know.
I struggled with the juice all the time. I just wasn't feeling right.
You ate more fruit than I did.
So I just would eat more fruit and drink
But you have a good point about that you eat all day. Now, I never had a problem of feeling hungry on it because it has plenty of calories. But there's a difference between feeling not hungry or hungry and feeling satisfied. And I think that's the big problem that I found with the fruit diet. I talk to now a lot of people who've been on this fruit journey, and I've met like 5 people over just in the last 6 months who say the same thing. Like a lot of them say, I'm almost there. I'm like 90% there, but I got to have my hummus every day, or I got to have my cheese and crackers, or and I noticed that most of the things that these people are snacking on are fats.
Yeah.
Like vegan cheese or nuts,
Yeah.
or they're starting to do like zucchini noodles with a
And the
cashew
problem I
sauce.
found was I just didn't really get how little of these fats puts you over the amount of fat you need for the day. I
Right.
mean, it just takes a couple of tablespoons of oil, you're done.
For the whole
For
day.
the day.
Right.
And I'm eating nuts all day long, snacking on walnuts and this cheese, so...
And that's not counting any of the fats in whatever salad dressing people
Yeah.
are eating, or
People don't realize
you
how
have no
much.
idea, you guys, how much fat is in your diet. And
That's what the people are fat on, is
Right.
the fat on their diet.
It
It's
is. It's not those carbs, and it's not the
No.
starches.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, I want to do a YouTube video where I can sit down with you guys and show you on my computer, because I'm going to teach you all how to read a label so you can honestly
I
learn.
still don't quite get it, but
It's complicated, but not really. I'll show you when I have my computer screen and I
just
can.
don't do any fat for a while. Do yourself a favor.
But, we should be eating Dr. Campbell, Dr. Greger, Dr.
Dr.
Esselstyn,
Esselstyn.
Dr. McDougall, Dr. Furman, all
They
these
have
guys that are
all
the
the
famous.
recipes for
and they
these.
all say 10% fat should be our diet, and that's if you don't have coronary artery disease, which who
Yeah.
doesn't? And in your 20s, people have it already. So honestly, we should be all doing 10%. And then if you eating a food like a Miyoko's cheese or any vegan cheese, because they're made of nuts, those
And
are
look,
90%
I'm not
fat.
bashing Miyoko's
No,
cheese.
her cheese is
It's the
amazing. If you
best.
guys can do a sparse little
I love
treat
that
and you
cheese.
can have one little piece, or you want to do one, then it's fine. I love vegan cheese. We have a guy here that
Yeah,
makes all
he
his
makes
own
it.
cheese, and we go support him, and we'll do that. But now we'll maybe do it once a month or something
Yeah.
instead of like what
Every
we wanted.
day.
No, we weren't doing, but still. So my big deal for where we are right now that's different than we talked to you guys last time is we've removed all the fat out of all that. We don't do any oils.
Yeah.
And we weren't doing, I never thought we were
didn't
doing
do a lot
oils
of oil.
anyway, because I don't put oil in my pan. I water fry everything. But what you don't realize, like when you roast veggies
Oil
and you
on your
stick the
potatoes
oil,
when you
olive
roast
oil,
'em.
or your potatoes when you roast them, and all that stuff just adds up. And then
Yeah.
I started realizing, God, between the roasted veggies and we're just eating too much fat, and I
Yeah.
feel bad. So we stopped all, so we don't do
Yeah.
any added oil. And right now we're not doing any fat unless we go out, like
Yeah.
today we went for a birthday treat,
Yeah.
or unless we go out.
Impossible Burger.
Yeah, at the Crossroads Cafe for lunch. We split one, a really tiny one. And yes, they're processed, and yes, they're
Yeah.
vegan junk food.
But
it
they're
was
still
Lloyd's
better than
birthday.
beef.
I agree. That poor Impossible and Beyond Meat burger, the dairy and meat industry has gone after those guys.
Yeah, it's sad how hard they've gone after them. It's
Lloyd was showing me a podcast the other day of this comic and this girl, and they were going off saying how men are growing all these tits
Yes.
from the estrogen in the Impossible burger. I'm
and
like,
they're lactating tits.
and then he's
titties.
saying they're lactating, and I'm like, they don't even understand the human body.
Yeah.
That's impossible. And
So it's
and
amazing.
everything they were saying was totally wrong. And I'm
Right,
not in favor
bogus.
of going out and eating an Impossible burger or a Beyond Meat burger, because to me that's totally junk food.
Yeah.
But it's Lloyd's birthday today, and when I said, "What do you want?" he said, "I want a split one," and theirs are so tiny.
And it's
like
more the
3
vanilla
bites.
milkshake that they do.
Yeah, the cashew. No, the coconut
Coconut
milkshake.
milkshake
Yeah, it's
that I
really-
love. But,
So it's his birthday. That's what he wanted.
but
and-
who wouldn't love a $10 milkshake?
Oh my God, I know, it's crazy.
Anyway.
Time to take a little break and get a drink if that's what you need, but don't go eat any fat, okay, you guys? Anyways, I'm not going to keep you long. I just want to thank all of you out there that are using my Amazon banner. And please, you guys, if you aren't using anyone else's and you really love my podcast or my work, I really, really would appreciate it if you would just go to my website, and right under the opening banner picture, you will see the Amazon banner there. And if you just click on that link, it'll take you to Amazon, and then just bookmark that page for yourself for the future, and there you have it. It's easy. And then every time you shop at Amazon, they throw me a few little pennies my way, and all of that adds up, and it helps me support my work and just get more stuff out to you guys. So I just want to let you know how grateful I am to each of you out there that are doing that already. All right, you guys, let's get right back and go finish talking to Lloyd, okay? Anyway, so that's really where we're going, and that's where how we kind of ate before, Lloyd, before we started our fruit journey.
Yeah.
But we're being even more conscious of fats than we were before.
Yeah.
So that's our big change, and we're not. It's like I wouldn't really say we've changed a lot. We still believe in fruit. We still, I believe, Lloyd. This is what you always ask me, and I tell you this all the time. I think the problem with the fruit journey is that the fruit is a super high healing, medical healing diet. And you do that diet when you're sick, when you have cancer, when you need something.
Right.
You need to be doing juicing and all this stuff. It's so healthy, and it's the diet. And that's the highest level of a healing diet.
It's the cancer-killing diet.
It is. And that is really like, that is the diet. And
Cancer doesn't like that, to eat that stuff.
Yeah, and it's so high in antioxidants.
Cancer likes fat.
And yeah, that's so true. And fruit has no fat. So all those 18 months we were eating zero fat. No wonder we felt so sick when we started trying to be a raw foodist. And the sad thing is, well, let me just finish what I was saying. So there's the healing diet when you're sick and when you really need to do healing. And to me, that's like high fruit and juice and raw food. And when I say raw food, I'm not talking about the fat, normal raw food diet. I'm talking about the John Rose 5-pound salads and fruit, and that's all.
And even just a juice diet, juice fast.
Right, or juice fast, or best than anything, a water fast would be the top of my list.
I mean, cancer needs to eat something, and they can't eat water.
Right, so that would be the top of my list. Then I would say juice, fruit and juice, and then I would say raw food, bringing in the salads. But a lot of people won't be able to sustain their weight doing that. And then the next.
I don't think many people are going to fall in love with that diet anyway.
No,
we've tried it; it's really difficult. So.
But if you have cancer, you have to.
Exactly.
But it's a temporary stretch. It's a year thing. It's this is when you have. And I think we were living on a healing diet, and it's not sustainable. And that to me was our problem. And then the second level of diet to me is like a detoxifying
We'll
diet.
get it right, you guys.
We're getting it right. That's life, is about experiencing. Who wants to just talk because you read a book?
We're going to tell you exactly.
Yeah, we've done it. This is how I like to, teach you guys, is by doing it ourselves. But the second level of diet to me is detoxing. And this is where we can all make some good New Year's resolutions. Like, how about 4 days a month everyone eat fruit? Or how about 4 times a year do a bowel cleanse with the 3-day plaque, mucoid plaque removing. Those are things you can commit to, and they're so short term that they're easy. But we were staying on these intense things for 18 months, and it was just not good. And then the third level of diet is our maintenance diet, and it's not a junk food, go eat an Impossible Burger when you want. No, that's junk food. It's not processed food. No, that's junk food. It's whole food, high fruit, high veggie, and I will say cooked if it's winter for me, and if it's summer, I may do 95% fruit this summer. I love my summer fruit diet if it's 100 degrees out. But in the winter, I don't feel good eating a fruit bowl at dinner.
Tough,
I don't.
It's tough.
And not only I didn't feel good, I was like freezing and I didn't feel good, but I also started feeling like really unsatisfied. And then you start almost developing a mental, emotional food addiction, because you're like dreaming of having a bowl of potato soup or something, and you're thinking, and that's the other thing, I don't like to feel guilty about eating a potato. And that happened when we were on our food journey.
We stopped that too.
It's taken this 2 months that we've been taking this fat out of our diet and really doing some cooked food and adding beans and grains back.
But you see, it's tough to eat a baked potato without slapping on the butter.
Right.
Well, even vegan butter and vegan
Forget
sour
it. That's
cream.
still pure fat.
You gotta find, like
other
you
ways.
just did, your mushroom gravy sauce.
Yeah. So what I did, because we're doing no fat, so we had our salad and a half a baked potato that we split, a russet potato. And then Lloyd said, what are we going to have on it? So I went and I got some sliced, fresh, cremini mushrooms, put them in a pan, oil, fried them until they get kind of caramelized. And then you add a little veggie broth, and that brings a nice flavor into them. Then I added a little, when they got all nice and cooked, I added more veggie broth and a tablespoon of sprouted spelt flour. And then that thickened it up. And then we poured that over our potato, slathered our potato with mushrooms and broth, and it was like the zero fat. So I'm really learning the little things that I used to use a little bit of oil or butter for. I'm really taking it out right now because I feel like I needed to be drastic. But the maintenance diet that you do needs to be whole food. If you don't want to eat beans, no problem. Some people's digestion isn't good, no problem. But we use sprouted beans.
Just takes a few times and then you can eat them.
And we've been buying that.
And if you sprout them,
yeah, you can sprout them really easily, and then you'll take care of a lot of digestive difficulties. Yeah. So we have this lady that sprouts them at the farmer's market, but I want to do them on my own because it's cheaper. But anyways, you don't have to do beans. And if you don't want to do grains, I would just say do some quinoa and millet and oatmeal. Those are the three that are healthy. Rice right now is so high in arsenic. We're not doing rice for a long time.
We're not going to push rice on people right now.
But it's so sad because it's such a good grain, but it's just so high in arsenic. But anyways, yeah, that's really, and it's been, Lloyd, for me, it's been two things very emotional for me about switching over. One is I was having a really hard time feeling okay about eating a starch again, because when we were doing our fruit journey and Dr. Morse, they're so against that, and they'd always talk about it like being glue. And yes, I understand why they would say that, but if you go look at the benefits of a potato, if you go look at Anthony Williams' books when he writes about all the medical healing properties of every food, and you look up a potato or you look up a artichoke or you look up a food that needs to be cooked like that, and you see all the benefits, I just have to say to myself, so I just don't believe even the Gerson. I'm so familiar with the Gerson diet, and they have a baked potato every night, nothing on it. They just put it in the oven, cut it up like into 6 wedges, and they bake it, and they just eat it with their veggies. And yeah, you can make these amazing little sauces that don't have any oil or any fats.
But that's the biggest problem, I think. It's what people put on the potato.
It is. It's like Dr. McDougall says, it's not the potato that's making you fat.
It's so funny. We split a potato. How many of you out there are splitting a potato?
Right. And it's not a giant one, but we're not big eaters.
That's how little that we need to eat to,
Right. So, but now I'm finally getting to the point where I'm liking what we're doing. I'm not feeling guilty. I actually feel better on what we're doing. So that's where we've made our changes, and you're feeling good about adding your oatmeal. That's been a good thing for you.
Well, I missed all the other stuff too, the potatoes.
And I made a really good taco dish the other night. You love that one.
Yeah, the tacos we're having now.
I made them out of
bean burritos.
Oh, what's the oyster mushrooms? Yeah, and I put in all this really healthy stuff. Like tomatoes and.
We're trying tonight. We're having these eggs made out of.
Yeah, garbanzo beans with that, that sulfur salt that makes it taste like eggs.
So there you go.
So we're going to put, instead of a shell, we're putting it on a lettuce leaf, a baby gem.
Lettuce.
Yeah.
Leaf.
So anyways, that's I wanted to make sure that people realize that we feel like we're on a really healthy, balanced, maintenance, whole food, plant-based diet now that's totally oil-free, and right now fat-free. But eventually we'll bring in avocados or a few cashews that I make a sauce for, but it'll always be that we're under our 10% and not over our 10% allowance of our fat. So that's our plan, and that's where we're at. And then I don't know. I want to just say something about the keto diet because I'm still thinking about your doctor, what he said, isn't it?
Well, let's talk about my buddy that just went in
I
think he was either like 50, not even that old, a good friend for, 10, 15 years now. And he said, I got some bad news. I got to go in for a stent. And I've been trying to get a hold of him for the last month and a half to see how he did after that. So I finally called his business partner. And he died in the operation.
Can you believe it? And Lloyd, I thought that was so weird because Lloyd said to him, Jesus, Michael, how old are you? Yeah. And I think he said, like, I'm 52 or something. Yeah. And Lloyd said, a stent? He said, yeah, my father died of heart disease at the age of 59.
He eats all wrong. And he kept saying, you keep putting it off and thinking that you can live forever. And I got kind of like I do, really forceful. Geez, you need to change your diet and stop.
And he said, "Yeah, I'm planning on doing that." And we even texted him Dr. Esselstyn's book on heart disease, how to prevent.
He's gone. I'm still having a problem recognizing this now.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
horrible.
This is like the 5th friend this past year that I've lost.
Apparently, in putting in the stent, they nicked something, and then they had to go in and do a
'Cause it had a
bypass.
clot, so they had to do a bypass.
And then when in the bypass, he came out of recovery fine. His sister called everyone and said it was successful. And 2 hours later, she called
dead.
everyone back and said he expired. And I
Yeah.
went, oh my God. So,
Unbelievable.
and then I just
Anyway.
went to my homeopathic.
Once again, diet related, and nobody will listen to you. We know his family was like that, but
Yeah,
had these
but that-
problems. But they were probably just ate the same.
99% is not your family history.
Yeah,
It's
so
your lifestyle and your diet.
Just sad.
And I went to my homeopathic Christmas party, and 2 of my members of that
Right.
group had strokes.
Did
So
we talk
it's like,
about
and
Jay last time?
yeah. Well, your friend, I called him Jay because I'm
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
hiding his name, but I told him
Anyways.
on a YouTube video. I don't know if these guys watched it, but that's your other friend who's got saliva gland cancer.
He stopped talking to me because I suggested a lifestyle change, but I'm gonna just text him and see if he'll reach out.
Yeah,
I've known
people-
known him since I was 18, and
People want you to support you and have compassion that they have dark days ahead. And speaking of dark days ahead, his friend who just got diagnosed with the saliva gland cancer said, Lloyd, I got a lot of dark days ahead.
and so did my friend
And then
Michael that
that's-
died.
And the weird thing is that's what Michael said when he told Lloyd and I that he
that's such
needed a
common
surgery.
Surgery. What's a
Yeah, why would he
do
say
you
that?
think?
No, that was horrible. But anyway, and then you look at the people on the keto diet. We have 4 friends with kidney transplants, Ryan and his sister,
Yeah.
then Cindy at the golf course, and now
Yeah.
Rick. That's 4 people. The 3 of them had them already. One's on a waiting list still that needs to hurry up and get one. And I keep thinking keto diet equals kidney killer diet.
geez.
Keto diet equals heart killer diet. Keto diet equals toxin storage
It's
diet.
all in the government's big plans to make us all sick and unhealthy and get us all on all million prescription drugs and get in and out of the hospital. It's all to make those folks very wealthy.
And you know what? Does anyone know if anyone needs a big anti-keto, what would you say, expert? Because here I am, as you can tell. I'm so upset about this because if you just follow blood work for 10 years, that's why we
Yeah.
asked the cardiologist today, are you seeing a ton more heart attacks and plaquing since the keto diet's so big? And he said, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
geez.
at least he said the paleo diet's better, but that's because they don't do dairy,
And
which
then you
means
look-
no
then
cheese.
You watch on
at least
TV,
that's a little better.
The Today Show, them pushing all of this
Yeah.
junk.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's
whatever.
the anti-keto right here. High carbs, high carbs. But remember, when you
amazing.
say the word carbs, we're not talking about cookies and pastries and donuts. No, we're talking about fruits.
Although, let's talk about your
Veggies.
donut for a minute.
Oh, I made a delicious donut, you guys. It was
4
made no
ingredients.
sugar, no oil, and it was only 4 ingredients. It was
No
dates.
donut.
Yeah, no donut. It was made with dates and oat milk, and you blend that together, and then you put in oat flour.
I think Homer Simpson would even like one of these.
Yeah, they were good. Then you put in vanilla and baking powder and oat flour, and you stir it in, and they're delicious. If you're used to eating.
And then we put dried peanut.
Oh yeah, have you guys seen the peanut butter powder
Yeah.
where they extract 85% of the fat out and then they dehydrate it and it's like a powder?
Dip your donut
And I
in
just
that.
dipped it in that because it's like so low fat and it's just a powder like a powdered sugar and they're so yummy and they're guilt free because
Yeah, no fat.
to call them a donut because they have little holes in them and they're shaped like a donut. I'm cooking for our neighbor tonight. She wants to lose weight for her New Year, so I told her I'd come over and I show her, and I gave her like 6 choices of what she wants to eat, and they picked the tacos. So I'm doing my oyster mushroom tacos for them, and we'll see. I'm going to take her a couple of these donuts because they're sweetened only with whole dates. They're so good, and they're not that sweet, are they? But they're really
No,
good.
but they're good.
They're good.
And these are good people and they're young. And one of our resolutions this year, or one of the things we wanted to do this year is just find some younger people that aren't so bought into what what all of our older friends
Oh, I
are
thought it
doing.
was you wanted younger ones because all our older ones are all dying.
Well, that too. So at least we'll have a few years with them before they go.
Right, exactly.
You know, I'm outlasting my age group, no problem.
We met a nice new friend.
Yeah,
Prob.
Prob.
We met him on our hike at the top of the beautiful
he's an
Runyon
Indian,
Canyon.
and he
Indian.
listens to our Sadhguru,
Yeah.
and he's a wonderful guy. So he's in our life now.
Yep. So
He's
we
very
had
young,
we had him over for
good-looking
dinner right
Indian.
before Christmas. He's in India right now visiting his family, but we shared a nice chai tea and a vegan meal.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So that's it, you guys. I'm really excited about 2020. Really, I'm really excited. And now I can do a few more cooking videos. Yay! Because I can't cook when I'm just eating fruit. And I know there's a lot of people against cooking foods, but you guys still really, I advocate a high fruit diet. A lot of fruit and salads, but you need also to be sustained and you need to be satisfied. And there's a season when you need a bowl of warm soup, and there's a day when you might need a baked potato with a little chili over the top.
And have a lot of fun and act like a little kid this year.
Yeah, just really, and have a lot of compassion for other people, because we all need to be more patient with each other.
And everybody's so angry nowadays.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
Let's all be happy, okay? 2020, new decade, new goals,
2020.
new
Jeez.
year, yeah, new birthday year for Lloyd. So happy 2020 to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you guys really soon.
See you soon.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So you guys, I hope you like that. I know quite a few of you write in and always ask me to have Lloyd on the show. So I thought it would be good to start the new year with him and just make a casual one and talk about like how we think about New Year's resolutions and where we're really heading, because we've really made kind of a really strong commitment to taking the fat out of our diet, because we kind of stopped counting and stopped paying attention to how much fat we were eating. And we were sitting there saying, I don't feel good. And Lloyd saying, I'm getting all my stomach problems and diarrhea back. And I'm going, this is not good. We're trying so hard to be raw foodists, and we're ending up eating a diet that feels totally wrong and something that I've never believed in, which is a high-fat diet. And imagine, compared to the keto diet, the diet we were eating probably was like 25% fat, and keto diets, whoa, I don't know, it has to be up there in the 50% range. And they can't have any carbs. It's such a hard diet to sustain. We were still eating our fruit, and we were still eating carbs, but the problem is when you're just taking in that many fats, it just stores in your body. And you guys, one thing I really want you to know, that all our toxins are stored in our fat. So when you're eating a high-fat diet, imagine how hard it is for these people's system to get any of their toxins out. So you want to eat a 10% fat diet. That's your goal. And we're going to talk a lot more about that this year, because I'm fat focused right now. That's my journey, you guys. So I look forward to having many more shows with you and teaching you and telling you more stories. And more than that, I want to do, but I need to do it like I was saying in the interview with Lloyd. I need to do it where you guys can see my computer screen, because I am going to teach you how to read a label. Talk about deceiving, because that industry doesn't want you to know how much fat you're eating. So anyway, I'm going to teach you how to do that this year too. So I look forward to that. And you guys, I bet you know what time it is, right? Yep, it's time to say goodbye. And I'm always sad to say goodbye, but we'll be back, both of us. But I'll be back for sure very soon. So you guys just sit tight and enjoy your first start of 2020. And remember, just take a couple baby steps. And if nothing else, just pay attention to the fat you're eating right now. I promise you, it's more than you think. All right, you guys, I love you, and I'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Vidal has spoken. Remember, you heal with a plant-powered diet, homeopathy, and detoxing, of course. Peace, be healthy, be free, live life.